Hello! Welcome, all my friends. This is Suki, the brown-eyed stitcher, and we're here for Flosstube number 20. Yay! Okay, it's October, and I did stuff. I prepared for this video by gathering everything and grabbing like 2 numbers, but I didn't actually organize the stuff in the order that I'm going to show it in, so this could be interesting. But what I did do was hang up my bats. These have a story. When I was, well, before I had my daughter, I was in a job. I called myself the front desk specialist because I worked at a front desk, but it really wasn't one, it wasn't really like a secretary position, but it wasn't really, it was kind of like administrative assistant, but I was at the front. Anyway, my job was there not to greet people coming in, but to schedule meetings between 2 different companies that use 2 different systems, like email services, calendar systems. Like they were 2 separate systems that didn't talk well to each other. So I sat there with 2 computers that used 2 different like systems. And my job was to schedule meetings between the 2 parties. 2 companies, not just 2 parties, but 2 companies. Anyway, that was my job primarily. I did other administrative things too. And one of the things that I did at this job was about once a quarter, they liked to have like a get-together, I guess. And that ended up being something that they gave me to do, which I was fine with. So we did potlucks, and people thought they were great. They would come, they would bring food. We had a lot of people traveling in from out of state a lot, and so I gave up, and we had a lot of people who worked, right, like workaholics. So I gave options for people to, they could give me money and then I would go shop for food items instead. So they didn't have to deal with it. Anyway, so a lot of people brought food, a lot of people gave money, and I made the food. But one of the other things I did that was fun, especially like in the last year that I did this, was I would make decorations, and they really, really liked that. Everybody really loved it. So Halloween was like the last one I did. I was, I guess, 7 months pregnant. It was October. My daughter was born in December. Yeah, so I was 7 months pregnant. And maybe that's why I did decorating, is because the one before that was like a celebration thing. No, the ones 2 times before that was like a celebration thing. And anyway, that's a different story. This story about these bats. So I bought like a pack of black cardstock. I think it was like a pack of 100. I had to have been. And then I sat there during work hours at my desk, in between everything else, making 100 origami bats. These things. And then I used whiteout, like the paintable kind, and drew and gave them eyes. That's the story of these bats. And so every year, I'm not a Halloween person, but I adore my bats, and I hang them up every single year. And usually they end up staying up for multiple seasons, because it's either because I'm lazy and I don't want to take them down, or it could just be that I really enjoy my bats and don't want to take them down. I'm going to let you choose which one it is. I think last year I had Christmas and Halloween up at the same time. Oh, probably Thanksgiving too, in like February. My goal is that I get all the holiday stuff down by my birthday, which is at the end of February. Like, that's my goal. So I don't really care if my bats become holiday bats. I like to change up where they get hung every year and kind of in what manner. So at the potluck, I actually had 2 other people hang them for me. And I said, I want them here. And there was like this huge wall. And I said, I kind of want, like, think Batman, right? Like the Batman, that bats that like swirl around like this. That's the instruction I gave them. And they did a great job. So, yeah, I've kept the bats over the years. They always get put up in different ways, in different places. It just kind of depends on what wall I have available, and usually it tells me, usually the wall tells me how to hang them. So in this case, you can see it start, oh no, you can't really. It starts here and it goes up this way. I'm going to tilt you. Oh. Da-da-da-da-da. So that's what my bats are doing. I think I'm still going to hang some downstairs, not just in my bedroom. But I love my bats. That's my one Halloween thing I really, really love. So there's that story. Okay, stitching. This is gonna be really exciting. Not really. I don't know. You tell me if it's exciting. So this is my travel stitching right now. I say right now, it's actually not. It got booted out. So this is September. I have finished January through whatever is before September. August. And since you saw this last, I put in an M. That's literally all I think that this piece has seen. This is 28 count, something, country French latte. Yeah. It's a linen. Stitched 2/2. And the reason that this got set aside is because all the time that I had given to my Calendar Girl series is being used in crocheting. I showed you that like the last video, and I will show it to you again. I guess I can show it to you right now. I don't see why not. Let's see. That's the bottom. This is the top. This is what it looks. Oh, that's the stringy side. I can't even see how I'm showing this to you. I can show you cross stitch projects, but I can't show you a blanket. Okay, there we go. So I'm using 4 different types of yarn. I showed that on the last video. I didn't bring it up here. And I've made this blanket pattern before with different colors, a different yarn even, but I followed the instructions in terms of the starting chain and the number of it. I'm pretty certain I did it exactly the same, except this blanket is longer than my first one. And it's for a smaller person. This is going to my niece. She just had a birthday last week. She's now 7. She is so excited for this. I'm going to see her in the beginning of November. And I thought it'd be really cool if I had this blanket done, because I don't know the next time I will see them after that. It might not be until April, which is like after the cold season. So I'm trying to get this blanket finished before then. So in 2 weeks, essentially, I've done most of this. I think I was somewhere down here. Maybe this far 2 weeks ago. I had just barely started like the night before. So I might not even have gotten that far. But now I'm all the way up here. And I'm just going to stop it at the length that I feel is good. Or when I run out of yarn, if I don't want to buy more yarn. And then I have to do a border. So I have not been totally weaving in my ends yet. I've only done the first portion, and then I started doing the second part, and I just haven't cut those off yet, but I have all the strings there. But it's fun, and I really like doing blankets in like the cozy or cooler weather and I like it when it gets to the point when it's like draped over me while I'm just crocheting along. And I basically do this all spare moments, and even if I'm reading aloud, I have a book stand so I can be hands-free reading, and this pattern's easy enough that I can like read and like just glance down every once in a while. Watching a movie, I grab this. If I'm just waiting for somebody, I grab this. Waiting for my daughter in dance class, like I crochet this. Like all the possible times just to see if I can get this done in, I guess, 3 weeks. We'll see. It's a tall order. We'll see. But that's my calendar, girls. Has only got like an M because I've been crocheting in that time. So, another project I worked on is this one, Under the Sea. I went on my getaway. The weekend after my video posted, and I didn't get all the fall colors I wanted to get, but I did get some. And my other channel I posted a little video about like just some raw, unfiltered thoughts about what it was to a particular aspect of this getaway. It was right after the Hurricane Ian, and so I got a lot of the rain was going through in the area. Not too heavy, but anyway, I'll link this other video just in case you want to check it out in the comments section. I'll link to it. But it's really just, I show some pictures or video or whatever, but mostly I just talk about what it was like to have to adapt my plans. It was raining or sprinkling. Like it kind of went back and forth. Like, was it raining harder? Was it sprinkling? But this was my opportunity on my getaway. Like, I wanted to be outside. I had very specific things I wanted to do on this getaway, and I had to adapt to it. And I ultimately was okay with this. Like, it was still really good for me because I knew at the heart that I knew what the intent was, so I was able to live the intent even though the actual practice of it ended up having to look different. So you can go check that out. But I did take Under the Sea with me. It's in my Alara Designs bag. Because it fits. This is I think she categorizes this as a large. size bag, and this is an 11 by 11 Q-snap in it, so it fits it very comfortably. This is, I'm trying to pull it out. There we go. Under the Sea artwork by Doreen Jones. It was a stitch along in 2017 that Lakeside Needlecraft. You can still buy the pattern. It's done on Aida fabric. I'll give you a recommendation about this in a second. 18 count Aida fabric. It is stamped to be an ombre. It's lighter at the top and darker at the bottom, like the ocean floor would be. And I don't know what I was going to say about that, but what I will say is that the pattern is, like, it uses a lot of backstitch, right? And so where a lot of the backstitch is, or even along outlines, it's still like full crosses in a color. And I don't love that when there's backstitch. I didn't know it at the time, that in 2017, I didn't know that I didn't love that. It didn't. So the beginning of this piece, I just stitched it as charted, and then you've got some of those full crosses outside your backstitch, and it started to bother me. So about the third, fourth, for sure the fourth part, it looks like the fourth part, I started to switch where I did fractional stitches, and that's kind of complicated to do in your head. It's not complicated so much as, like, it just takes some brain power to decide which color is going where, and sometimes the way that the back stitching is, you have like 3 different colors in the square, but I do like the end result better. It just is a little tedious. So if you want to do this pattern or any other pattern that is charted with full crosses with the back stitch, and instead you want to do fractionals, maybe do an even weave or a linen instead of an Aida, so you don't have to pierce the Aida all the time. It's doable and it's cute, but it just takes more time than I want to. Like, it's part of that, like, it fiddly feel of this piece to me. Anyway, I finished a part while I was on my weekend getaway. 8, 9, 10. So it's part 10. This little scuba diver and the chest down here. And these 2 fish. There was so much backstitch going on in here. It took me like 3 hours to do. Although I probably wasn't like a very focused 3 hours, so maybe like 2.5 hours. Anyway, there's so much backstitch in here, and it makes a huge difference. So fun though. I love it. So I have 11 and 12 to do, and then this will be done. We'll see if that gets done this year. I really want it to be done this year. We'll see if I can manage it though. The other 2, I guess 2 other pieces. I did 2 full coverages. I'm like pulling out stuff. I don't even know what I'm doing. Okay, there we go. Halloween season. I don't like spooky Halloween, but I do like cutesy, I guess. I don't know that I don't know that I can say I like cutesy Halloween. I have bats on my wall. I guess I'm just selective about what I like about Halloween. Anyway, this is Bubble Bubble Chocolate Trouble by Randall Spangler. Charted by Heaven and Earth Design. This is their regular. If I were to like start this over and buy my chart now, there is like a select a size that's been released since I bought this one, and it's smaller. So I think I would have done that. It's not the same size. It's bigger than a mini, but smaller than this, because this is quite big. It's 575 by 658. It's pretty big. And oh my gosh, my brain is kind of very scattered, and I can tell you why in a second. I have put in 1,911 stitches. So we're at 4.05%. This is an 8 by 11. And I don't know why I put it in this way instead of that way. I don't know why. I did it and then I didn't want to take it back out. So this is what it is. But I've mostly been, oh, I had hanging threads. I had parked threads. So I worked all those parked threads in, and then I've been working in this section right there, which is like here. So I think this edge right here this is the edge of the moon. Right? Does that seem right? I can't. Why am I crossing my hands? Ta-da! Yeah, that looks like the edge of the moon. So, my goal is to take this to 5%, which is less than 4,000 stitches. It's probably about 3,500 stitches in 3 weeks. This stitches up fast because the blues, there's not that many colors. It's a lot of the same color. It's not really block stitching, but it's absolutely not confetti stitching. The problem is time. I just don't have the time I want for all the things. But that's the goal. It's very possible. Actually, it might be very likely, because next weekend is 24 hours of cross stitch weekend, and I think that I'm going to participate this time. We'll talk about that if I remember in a second. Okay. Lastly is my super size max color treasure hunt bookshelf by Amy Stewart, charted by Heaven and Earth Design. And so many people are stitching this, and I love it. I love it all. My last video, I was sitting just under 50%. The day that I posted my video, I got to 50%. So many of you went from seeing my Instagram post of like, ta-da, here's 50%, to watching my Flosstube video, which said, I'm not quite at 50% yet. My timing probably could have been a little bit better on that, but I wasn't. Oh, this one, Bubble Bubble, this is 25 count. It's 2 over 1 10th stitch. Treasure Hunt Bookshelf is 28 count. And we're at over 50%, obviously. I've put in 6,772 stitches. It's at 50.61%. Oh, let me scoot back a little bit. There we go. Okay. So, look at this section. Isn't it gorgeous? I love it so, so, so much. I hope that you can tell what this section is, and if you're one of those people who like to guess, I don't know if you want to listen to this next part or not, so you can make your choice. I'm now stalling, so you can either have jumped ahead or stay here while you decide whether you want to hear what this section is. I think most people know what this section is if you're familiar with Amy Stewart charts. There's a chart called Gypsy Firefly, and it's the back of it's like a caravan, and the girl is sitting off the back, right? It's probably not exactly the same as this. I don't know. I haven't actually looked, but it's pretty much like that. This is the girl sitting on the back and her caravan, and she's got lights. It's got curtains. It's really sweet. This is something completely different than the caravan. But there's this. I really want to do the Gypsy Firefly chart someday. Probably regular size, max color would be my guess. But I don't even own the chart yet. But I'm so happy that it's in this piece so that if I never get to the actual piece, I at least have this. I have this dream of having like a home away from home that's mobile. I really, really want a travel van. I don't really want an RV or motorhome. I want a van. And I want to, it's this feel, this kind of like, not utilitarian, but just soft and welcoming and like, I just want it. This. I want this, okay? But like modernized, I suppose, a little bit, but not too much. But the feeling that this gives me is the feeling that I want in a travel van. I want a travel van so bad. Anyway, so my next video is in 2 weeks. I will not be done with this shelf in 2 weeks, but I will be somewhere in this section by then. The goal is November 1st to be done with this whole shelf. So if you want to see this shelf when it is finished, be following me on Instagram, The Brown-Eyed Stitcher, because it'll be another week before I film another Flosstube video. So, there's something about finishing this shelf that feels like the real halfway mark, because there's 4 shelves and this is the second one. So even though it'll be something like 52 point something percent, when I finish this shelf, it feels like the real halfway point to me. So 50% is amazing. Like, I'm on the second half now. It's crazy. But it's not going to feel like the second half until I finish this shelf and start the third shelf. So, anyway, November 1st is the goal to get this done. And then November 2nd, I leave on a trip. And November 4th is my very first cross-stitching retreat. Stitching in the Springs. It's in Ohio. And let's see. Oh, there's several of you who's going to be there, and I feel like I shouldn't name anybody because I'm going to forget. But Alara invited me. And she and I were going to room together. And pretty much as soon as I agreed to come, Alara was like, yeah, you're bringing your bookshelf, right? And that's the point at which I decided I'm going to have that second shelf done then instead of like December 31st. So that shaved off like 2 months of my stitching goal, but that happened like several months ago, so it's been a long time. I am super chatty today. Not just chatty, but like nonstop, very fast. Oh boy. Okay, that's just what this is. That just is what this is today. Anyway, so Stitching in the Springs is coming up, and I'm very excited about that. And it's in 24 days. I have a countdown on my phone. I'm excited. I'm very, very, very excited. That whole weekend, I'm going to be gone for like 8 days. And because it's more than just the retreat that's happening at that time. So, okay, so cross-stitching plans. Mostly just what I've been doing. My daily goal for my bookshelf is something like 532? I can't remember. I just aim for 550, and then I know I'll be pretty good. There has been like one day recently where it was just so busy. I think it was Sunday. It was so busy. And actually Sunday's the reason for like my only sort of organization right now. What happened? Okay, so I sing in my church choir. My brother conducts the choir. He's very new to conducting a choir, so I mentor him. And the pianist, he's a very good pianist, but he doesn't read music very well anymore. So he's great at improvisation. His theory is excellent. I say that like I don't have excellent theory. But I can sight read piano music well enough for the areas in which I need to do it in. So anyway, so we were looking at a new song, and the pianist hadn't seen it yet. So I was like, well, I can sight read it for today. So I sight read that. And then we worked on another song in which I was singing a solo in. So there was that. And then for worship services, the person who plays the organ had asked me to play for the congregational songs. So I did that, and then I work with the kids' music. I play piano for the kids' music, and I had to do that. So by the time I had gotten to that point, I could already tell that my brain was struggling with like the different switches back and forth. It's one of the things that happened when I like burned out and broke down. One of the cognitive difficulties that I still have when I feel a lot of stress shows up in playing the piano. My brain doesn't hold on to the key very well, which is, I've been playing for, I can do math, 20 some odd years. Okay, apparently I can't do that well at math. 25, 27-ish. Okay, like I've been around music my entire life, and I've been playing piano for over 20 years. I can hold keys in my head, especially for some of the simpler songs. But over the last 2 years, one of those cognitive challenges has been for my brain to know what key it's in and to stay in that key, even on very simple songs. And it's been really frustrating, but that's okay. I guess that's okay, because it just is what it is, right? So that I could tell was happening by the time I was working with the children's songs, which I like the easiest of them all. Like, I was messing up very, like, constantly, which the kids don't really care, but I care. I can do better, but my brain could not do better at that time. And then, and in all of this, the night before I discovered that my vehicle had a flat tire. So I was like, that's okay. I can use my brother's vehicle for all the things. He's going to almost everything with me on Sunday. So we'll just take his vehicle instead of mine. His car wouldn't start that morning. So I had to get I called Kaylin's dad and was like, come pick us up, please. We need to go where you're going. So he came and got us, and we all went together. And so yeah, there was like, I have to deal with this flat tire. We have to figure out what's going on with his car. I had to get a ride, and then I had to play for like 3 different things. We did end up getting my brother's car to start later on in the afternoon. We gave like his, the battery, the things that you put the jumper cables on, the connections. We cleaned it off really well, and tried jumping it again, and it worked that time. Ultimately, however, his battery did fail, and Monday, the next day, he went to get it tested and replaced it. So, where was I going with this? Oh, yeah. So I was feeling a lot of stress. My brain was like on the fritz. And then that evening, I play piano for a larger chorale group. And so on Sunday evenings, I go and do that. And there's some harder piano parts going on. And yeah, I wasn't totally prepared. That's okay. We got through it, but as a result of all of that, my cognitive functions aren't as present as they have been recently. So I gathered everything, but then it kind of was all a little bit disorganized, and I think that's why, like, I won't stop talking right now. I just have a million things to tell you guys. I was telling you about my cross-stitch plans, and I completely derailed. Okay, so treasure hunt bookshelf, that's daily. My aim is 550, and we'll be fine. We'll be fine unless it takes me like 3 hours to hit that goal. It usually takes me about 2. But when there's a lot of confetti, which was the case yesterday, it took me like 3 hours. And I had really poor concentration because of what happened on Sunday. So anyway, there's that. 24 hours of cross-stitch is not this weekend, but the next weekend. And I think what I think I'm going to do is do my bookshelf first. What I did last time was I spent like the first 4 hours of every day doing my bookshelf, and that got me a really good like 1,200 stitches. That was nice. I might do that, which would then mean my daily stitch count could be a slightly lower. I might do that. or I might not. I will make sure that Bubble Bubble gets to its percentage. And then I think I'm going to hit Under the Sea for sure. The only piece, full coverage piece, that I have not met my yearly goal on this year is Father Christmas. Let me get that real quick. I brought over all contenders for 24 hours of cross stitch. So, Father Christmas with toys. This one's Yvonne Gilbert. It is a max color version. This one I might not work on for 24 hours of cross stitch because I do plan on working on it in the month that holds Christmas. December. But December's very busy because there's always music things that I'm involved in, performances, and my daughter's birthday, Christmas. Like, it's busy that time. Anyway, this is mostly, there is some cross country throughout the whole thing, but I've been working on that page. So I might pull this out. It might depend on how I feel about Under the Sea, because I really want Under the Sea finished. I didn't pull out every single contender. I missed another one. I'll show you what's here. I might pull out Canopy Heart. This is a retired chart from Heaven and Earth Designs. I just want to work on this one, but it's not like a very high priority. But that's all I've gotten to so far. So I don't know that one, I feel like I would need to make very significant progress on other things before I pull that one out. Temperature Library, I'd like to see this one finished by the end of the year. And I think I have up through July. January, February, March, April, May, June. Just kidding, only June. I have the temperatures for July and August. I haven't gathered September's yet, but I do have those two gathered. This one doesn't take long. I just need to, like, work on it. That's all. I just need to work on it. And obviously this one can't be finished until December 31st, but I'd really love to have it done, like, on that day. And Queen of the Night, this is Josephine Wall. Also a priority. This is like 25% done, I think. I've kind of been holding off pulling this one out. I think it will come out once I finish Bubble Bubbles up to 5%. I think I'm going to pull this out and get it to 30%. I think that's what I'm going to do. Which means that Father Christmas probably won't come out until I do that. If I'm making 0 cents on my potential plans, you're in good company. Okay, I'm going to go grab the one I forgot. I said one and I came back with 2 more projects. So when I finish Under the Sea, the one after that I want done is, this is Mystery Town. It was Ship's Manor Stitch Along in 2017. So Under the Sea and Mystery Town were started in the same month. So I'd love to see both of them finished by the end of this year. just Under the Sea is older, which is why it's getting worked on before this one. This is very close to being done. I have... Let me just show you the fabric, because I don't obviously remember. Oh, I did stitch it. Okay. I have to do that building, and then there's like a one over here and some balloons in the sky. These are it's very quick to stitch. They only take me maybe 1 or 2 days per building. So that one will be done once I pull it out to work on. It won't take me very long. The last contender is, I don't have a picture of it, but because there isn't one, it's an ongoing stitch along by Owl Forest Embroidery. It's their indoor house plants. And all I've done is part 1. And I did that in May. This is a 40 count. Look how tiny it is. It's so little. I love it. I think they have like 10 parts out now though. Maybe 11. It looks so, so good. And every time I see another part, I'm like, oh, I want to work on that one. But I can't. Anyway, this is 40 count, and so I'm stitching it 1 over 1 or 2 over 1. What am I doing? One over 1 10th stitch, right? Yes. And it's so little, and I love it. So cute. I do think I'm going to rip this out and replace it, but I don't know with what yet. Maybe I just gave you like the plans for the rest of the year and not just the next 2 weeks. I feel like anything could happen over 24-hour cross-stitch weekend. So if you want to see what I end up working on, follow me on Instagram, because I will definitely post on there. If you have any opinions, you can leave a comment. I like opinions, so we can do it. So there's only one thing that I bought, and it's not cross-stitch related, but it's yarn. I had to buy a couple more things of yarn for the blanket, and I saw this sock yarn. It's a cotton wool blend, and it's so cute. I love it. It's so pretty. This is what the picture looks like, but there was another colorway with the same picture, so maybe it's like that and maybe it's not. I don't know, but apparently I want to try making another pair of socks that for real fits me. The last pair of socks I made were for my daughter, and they were the best sizing that I managed. So this will be my 4th pair of socks, and maybe they'll fit. We'll see. We'll see. All right. Was there anything else for me to say? I don't think so. I said a lot. I don't have anything sitting around here to tell me, oh, say this. So I'm going to be done now. And yes. Happy Halloween season. I'll be back before it's actual Halloween. If you do not do anything with Halloween, you're totally fine. I really don't either. I mostly just hang these bats because they're the best. And yeah, we're good. Moving right along, right? Like, We're still here. We're still alive. We're still... I know what I was gonna say. Okay, like 3 videos ago, I think it was, I did like past the stash stuff. And those of you, some of you, I'm gonna see at the retreat, and I'm giving you your stuff there. Those of you who are still waiting for me to send it, I'm a terrible, awful person at shipping stuff, apparently. But I have it. It's sitting right over here. And I have your addresses on my desk downstairs. I just haven't done the thing of actually shipping them yet. So now that I have publicly declared my shame, perhaps I can manage to do that now. Maybe? Possibly? Okay, my friends, thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for being here. I love you all. And keep at it. You are amazing. Bye.